I despise Kung Fu Panda 4, and that's coming from someone who loves the trilogy. If you asked which is better, Lemmon, How to Train Your Dragon or Kung Fu Panda, I'd say Kung Fu Panda. Yes, even the third one. The fourth Kung Fu Panda film makes the third look like a masterpiece. But why is that? What makes the fourth so bad? Well, that's why I'm here, to put out my thoughts on the table and help inform you on this garbage. This video is split into 4 spoiler-heavy sections: the villain, the message, Awkwafina, final thoughts, each of them pointing out the horrid inconsistencies displayed throughout its bloated runtime. The villain. Villains are integral parts to the trilogy. They help push people onwards towards fulfillment. Each of them ties into the message displayed at the end. Tai Lung displayed that even though you put in your all, it's never good to let your pride consume you. He's a perfect foe that challenges Poe's new kung fu skills. Lord Shen may not have known kung fu, but he was directly tied to Poe's past, making him a great challenger to Poe's intellect, forcing him to overcome his trauma. General Kai, the previous worst villain, was a master of Qi. He forced Poe to master the art and connect with his panda roots. He was a great challenger to everything Poe has learned thus far. But the Chameleon? She was called too small and wants to prove to the world that she is as good of a kung fu warrior as everyone else. She doesn't challenge Poe in any new ways. He doesn't have to learn the sorcery that she knows. He doesn't have to overcome anything except the half-baked idea of becoming a spiritual leader. Poe is supposed to pass on the title of the Dragon Warrior to his successor, but it's super easy. He just gives the staff to Awkwafina, and the Chameleon isn't even a threat with these supposed moves because not only has Poe defeated all these opponents, but has learned since then. So the villains most likely won't even be a challenge. And her motives are dumb. Wait just a second. Small? Too small? Have the filmmakers even seen the franchise? What about Mantis or Viper? Or Master Chicken? Or Master Dolphin? Hell, even Master Sifu looks about the same size as the Chameleon. Kung Fu mastery in this universe is a goal that anyone from any background can achieve if they put their mind to it. Whatever. Let's assume that reason isn't a bunch of baloney. Let's assess how much of a villain she is. Exhibit A. She steals metal using her army of copycat barely talking... Wait, I think I've seen this before. Oh wait, because I have. Lord Shen has an army of copycat wolves that barely talk and steal metal, except that was done way better in the second movie. And the metal makes sense in the second film because Lord Shen needs it for his weapon. The Chameleon uses it to make cages that don't even work because you can just dig under them. Exhibit B. She pushes someone down the stairs. Yep, that's it. She pushes someone down the stairs. Even though Poe is pushed down the stairs by Shifu, a good guy mind you, in the first film while training, does that make him a villain? Exhibit C. She takes other people's moves, which sounds like something a 5-year-old wrote. And wait just a second, I feel I've seen this one before. Oh, that's because I have. In the third movie, Kai steals people's chi and releases them as jade zombies. Except that was done not only better, but makes sense with Poe's journey about mastering chi. And all of this to become a great kung fu master, except wait, Shen didn't know kung fu, so why is she trying to steal his moves? And why has no one heard of Poe? He stopped a war on China, the legendary Tai Lung, an ancient warmonger, and in-universe, everyone is training for it. It was a huge ordeal made by Oogway, who, mind you, everyone in this movie knows. And that's it. That's all she does. She doesn't kill anyone like Shen did. She doesn't challenge Poe at all like Tai Lung did. She's not menacing like Kai. She's nothing. I don't care about her. I don't fear her. I don't feel anything. She is in very sense, especially compared to the trilogy, a terrible villain. Not mid, just downright awful. Okay, but what's the message? I think it goes along the lines of, it's never too late to do the right thing. So, pretty weak. And it's not a challenge for Poe to overcome, it's a challenge for Awkwafina. And she just kind of does it, barely an inconvenience. And there's these laws of the streets that are just kind of thrown around willy-nilly at the end, only used for silly one-liners. And Lee and Mr. Ping are supposed to be okay with their son being the Dragon Warrior, except, you guessed it, they already learned that in the previous movies. Mr. Ping in the second, and Li Shan in the third. And Poe has no arc. He stays the same from beginning to end. Only difference being he is no longer the Dragon Warrior because he gave the title to Awkwafina. But why? He was doing fine as the Dragon Warrior. Actually, he was doing great. And he wasn't old or declining in health. He just passed on the torch because Shifu said so. But Shifu's reasoning was valid, right? Shifu says Poe needed to become the spiritual leader because Oogway gave him the Staff of Wisdom. Okay, cool. Except the Staff of Wisdom was just a cool staff given to Poe as a joke. Oogway literally says, I have a bigger one. And the reason this is all such a disservice is because the 3 films all have perfect messages aimed at all ages. Number 1, don't let others define what you can become. Number 2, don't let your past define your future. Number 3, connect with yourself to unlock your fullest potential. Each of these are displayed brilliantly and cleverly with awesome villains, art style, and scores. This movie has none of it. It's all just a bunch of meaningless baloney. There is nothing here. This movie's message is like picking up wet sand. You may get something, but it's really just a whole lot of nothing. And that's the greatest disservice of all. Poe's story had wrapped up nicely with a bow. There was nothing left to add, but rather than letting the franchise rest in peace, they revived it and dragged through a mile of burning coals just to keep it gasping for air as they passed the torch to Awkwafina of all people. But why do I hate her, you may ask? Watch this, and then I'll carry on.
The who said what, who does that, yeah, the scattlebot.
She can't sing, she can't act, she's not particularly attractive, she can't dance, she can't do anything except play the same character the same way every damn time. Her voice is revolting, to say the least. It's almost as bad as, actually scratch that, it is worse than the Cocomelon theme song. It is the most gag-inducing steaming pile of doggy doo-doo I have ever stepped in. But tell me, dear viewer, how is it that an actress that we have established to have zero talent still gets a job? If she can't sing, why do people hire her to sing? She can't act, so why do people hire her to act? She's not funny, so why do people hire her as the comedic sidekick? My answer? Money. Either she's dirt cheap or, and this is more likely, filmmakers associate her with the financial success of the film she's in. The bad guys did well, so obviously Awkwafina got butts and seats. Kung Fu Panda 4 is doing well, sadly, so obviously Awkwafina got butts and seats. And Shang-Chi did well, and you know where I'm going. It bugs me that people will watch things for the sake of it being a franchise because it shows the filmmakers that we're okay with utterly terrible dog-water movies, actors, and actresses. But those were the specific things I hated about this movie. Now it's time for the odd things I noticed. When Poe and Awkwafina are sneaking into the tower, also done better in the previous film, Poe accidentally launches a disc that doesn't obey physics at all down the stairs.
That thing does not obey the laws of physics at all.
Look, kid, there's a lot going on here that you don't understand.
It should bounce and gain momentum and fly down the hill. And all of that just to build up to a fart joke of all things, because of course it was. And you thought that was bad enough. No, try listening to a screaming goat not once, but like 10 whole times within a minute. This stupid goat master does not shut up. It screams while punching and kicking, and it's a dishonor on the trilogy to subject its fans to stupid, annoying, dead memes from 15 years ago. Oh, and there's so many continuity errors, like number 1, the Tippy Tavern is very clearly supported on the middle by rocks, with support beams either side of it. But when Lee and Ping are down with it, it falls straight down, meaning it would have had to tear through the rock face, all for the sake of an unfunny animation joke. Number 2, Ping and Lee save Poe, who's dangling off a cliff. But where did they come from? Where did they go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye? Well, fell down a huge cliff face after being poached by the Chameleon, someone who's a quarter of his size, mind you, and then magically Ping and Lee are there. Does that mean Poe was just gonna die if they didn't go on that stupid side quest? And how did they get back up? Oh, and why did Awkwafina have a wanted poster in a city run by the Chameleon, her mentor? And why do the stupid bunnies and other criminals exist? They don't do anything to help Poe on his journey. They were just a hindrance. At least the cute, lovable kids in the rickshaw chase from the second film and the pandas from the third were a learning obstacle for Poe. The criminals were so self-aware it was just weird. Like, no criminal says, I'm a criminal. Of course I'm gonna steal from the poor and the needy, even if it's something I don't need. And those 5 were just off the top of my head. There are countless dumb things this movie does that make no sense narratively. But Lemmon, it's just a silly kids movie. It doesn't have to be good and introspective. No. That kind of thinking is the real disservice to the franchise. I was 3, 6, and 11 when the movies came out. I very much grew up alongside them. I lived and breathed Kung Fu Panda. Tai Lung scared me, but I learned the valuable lesson of being myself. Shen committed mass genocide, but I learned to let my trauma flow in order to heal from it. Kai forced Poe to become a master of himself and a true teacher to those around him. Each of those films had something to learn and grow from. They were done perfectly. They taught everyone of all ages something. They were for kids. They were very much turned on to let the kids watch them for hours and laugh while the parents were away, just like Cocomelon was. So the fans of Kung Fu Panda 4, Tell me, would you let your kids watch this brain-rotted train wreck of a film when they could be learning something and still having a good time? Older generations, including myself and Gen Z, are always talking about how the younger generation is doomed, and it's because we're shoving endless hours of meaningless content like Cocomelon and Kung Fu Panda 4 in their tiny, malleable noggins. So to tie it all up, this movie is a complete disservice to the previous films because it has a terrible villain I don't care about. It has nothing to tell, which is probably the most atrocious thing it does. It resorts to dumb side characters we don't care about. It's so boggled down by random stuff it feels more like a 20-minute TV episode stretched into an hour and a half. And even then, the Kung Fu Panda spin-offs had more heart. This is a terrible movie that doesn't deserve any of the praise it's getting, including the praise of calling it mid. And that pretty much sums up my thoughts on Kung Fu Panda 4. I'm so thankful to those that sit all the way to the end of these. If you enjoyed today's video, sending it to a friend and leaving a like is greatly appreciated. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, save your money. Seriously, it's not worth the watch, especially to fans of the trilogy. Next video is going to be on Zathura, so subscribe so you don't miss out on that.
Leave me alone! The buzz, the who's